What if I told you that the person who broke your heart, who destroyed your trust, who made you feel like love was just a mean trick? What if they were actually your soul's best teacher, sent to get you ready for the love you were really supposed to have? What if every time someone let you down, every relationship that ended with hurt, every time you asked yourself, why me, was actually the universe's way of making room for your true soulmate? And what if learning the real spiritual reason behind being hurt in love could turn your worst heartbreak into your biggest success, your deepest hurt into your strongest power? Because according to important ideas about the soul's path through relationships, being betrayed isn't random. It's not a punishment. It's not proof that you don't deserve love. It's a special gift from karma, a holy redirection, a message from the divine designed to save you from accepting less than the amazing love your soul came here to find. So if your heart is broken right now, if you're wondering why love keeps letting you down, if you're asking yourself if true soulmate love is even real, this might be the most important message you'll ever hear about the hidden, spiritual reason for your pain and the wonderful love that's waiting for you on the other side of it. The universal wound. Let me ask you something that might bring up feelings you've been trying to push away. When was the last time someone you completely trusted broke that trust in a way that made you question everything you thought you knew about love? Maybe it was the partner who promised you forever and then left without any explanation. Maybe it was the person who swore they'd never hurt you right before they did exactly that. Maybe it was someone who made you believe you'd found your soulmate, only to find out they were saying the same things to someone else. The betrayal might have been big: cheating, sudden abandonment, finding out everything you believed about them was a lie. Or it might have been quieter: promises slowly being broken, love slowly being taken away, death by 1,000 small lies. But here's what all betrayals have in common. They don't just break your heart. They break your belief in love, in your ability to tell if someone is good, in whether you deserve to be truly loved. You find yourself asking those terrible questions that haunt every broken heart. How could I have been so wrong about them? What's wrong with me that I brought this into my life? Will I ever be able to trust again? Am I going to repeat this pattern forever? And underneath those questions is an even deeper fear. Maybe real love, the kind that's loyal and lasting and true, maybe that's just make-believe. Maybe I'm asking for something that doesn't exist. If you've ever felt this way, if you've ever wondered if your string of romantic disappointments means you're somehow broken or unlucky in love, I need you to understand something right now. Your betrayals aren't proof that you don't deserve love. They're proof that you deserve something far better than what you've been accepting. And if you're ready to learn how your biggest heartbreaks might actually be your soul's way of leading you toward your greatest love, like this video right now. Because what we're about to explore together could completely change how you understand every painful relationship you've ever had. The soul's curriculum. But before we can understand why betrayal works as a gift from karma, you need to understand something basic about how souls think about romantic relationships that will change everything you think you know about love. Most people believe that finding love is about luck, timing, and getting along well. Meet the right person at the right time, have enough in common, feel that spark of attraction, and hopefully you'll live happily ever after. But what if that's not how it works at all? What if your soul doesn't think about relationships randomly but with a plan? What if every person you're drawn to, every connection you feel, every relationship you start, whether it lasts 2 months or 20 years, is part of a carefully planned curriculum designed to help you grow into the person who can experience true soulmate love? The karmic classroom. Think of it this way. Your soul comes into this lifetime with specific lessons to learn about love. Not just how to receive love, but how to give it honestly. Not just how to be open, but how to stay whole while being close to someone. Not just how to recognize real connection, but how to tell it apart from the fakes that pretend to be the real thing. These lessons can't be learned from books or lectures. They have to be lived, felt, experienced in the heat of actual relationships with actual people, who trigger actual emotions and reactions. So your soul attracts exactly the teachers it needs for each stage of learning. The teacher you didn't want. Here's where it gets deep. The people who betray you aren't accidents or mistakes. They're specialized teachers whose job is to show you what love isn't, so you can recognize what love is when it finally shows up. Think about Sarah, who spent 3 years with someone who always made promises he never kept. On the surface, this looked like a waste of time, a painful detour from her path to real love. But that relationship taught her to value consistency, to recognize the difference between words and actions, and to never again accept potential over reality. When she finally met her true partner, someone whose words and actions always matched, she didn't need months to recognize his honesty. Her betrayal experience had developed her ability to spot real integrity right away. The gift hidden in the pain. This is the gift from karma that betrayal offers. It develops your spiritual ability to judge love. Every lie you've been told teaches you to recognize truth. Every promise that was broken shows you what real commitment looks like. Every time you've been manipulated, you become better at detecting manipulation. But here's the deeper layer. Betrayal doesn't just teach you about others. It forces you to face your own patterns, wounds, and hidden beliefs about love that were attracting these teaching relationships in the first place. If you're starting to see your past relationships differently, if you're beginning to understand that maybe those painful experiences were preparing you for something better, let me know in the comments by writing, "Teacher," because recognizing your betrayers as teachers is the first step in claiming the gifts they came to give you, the pattern breaker. Now we need to go deeper into why betrayal specifically, rather than just disappointment or not getting along, works as such a powerful tool for finding your true soulmate. Breaking the settling pattern. Most people settle in love, not because they're lazy or lack ambition, but because they're afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of never finding anyone better, afraid that their standards are too high, or that real love might not exist. So they accept relationships that are good enough, partners who meet most of their needs but not all, connections that feel comfortable but not extraordinary, love that's pleasant but not passionate, stable but not soul-stirring. Betrayal destroys this settling pattern completely. When someone you've invested in betrays your trust, it becomes impossible to pretend that good enough is actually good enough. The pain of betrayal is so sharp, so clarifying, that it forces you to face the truth about what you've been accepting. Maria had been in a series of relationships with men who were kind, reliable, and committed, but who never really saw her. They loved their idea of who she should be, not who she actually was. She kept telling herself that being misunderstood was a small price to pay for security and companionship. Then she met someone who seemed to truly see and appreciate her real self. For 6 months, she felt alive in ways she'd forgotten were possible. When he suddenly disappeared with no explanation, the betrayal was devastating, but it was also eye-opening. "I realized I could never go back to being invisible in a relationship," she said. "The betrayal hurt, but it also showed me what I'd been missing. I'd rather be alone than settle for being unseen again." Raising your standards. This is how betrayal works as a pattern breaker. It makes settling impossible by showing you what you've been giving up when you settle. The person who betrayed you might have been wrong for you in many ways, but they probably gave you glimpses of something you'd never experienced before. Maybe it was feeling truly wanted. Maybe it was smart conversation. Maybe it was emotional depth or spiritual connection or exciting passion. When they took that gift away through betrayal, they left you with a bigger understanding of what's possible in love and a complete inability to accept anything less. The authenticity. Demand betrayal also forces you to become more authentic yourself. When you've been lied to, manipulated, or deceived, you develop an almost allergic reaction to anything that feels false or fake. You stop trying to be what you think others want you to be. You stop hiding parts of yourself that might be inconvenient or challenging. You start showing up as your complete, unedited self. Not because you're brave, but because you're exhausted from pretending. And here's the miraculous part. This authenticity becomes a magnet for your true soulmate, because authentic people attract authentic connections. When you stop performing, you start attracting people who love your real self, rather than your carefully created image. The spiritual upgrade. Finally, betrayal often causes a spiritual awakening that completely changes your approach to love. The pain forces you to question everything. Not just who you choose, but why you choose them. Not just what you want in a partner, but who you are as a person. This spiritual deepening changes your energetic frequency. You start attracting connections based on soul harmony, rather than ego compatibility. You begin to sense the deeper currents beneath surface personality traits. You develop the ability to feel whether someone's energy is aligned with your highest good. The clearing but understanding betrayal as a gift from karma requires us to explore one of the most challenging parts of this process: how it clears energetic blocks and patterns that have been preventing you from accessing true soulmate love. The energetic archaeology. Every relationship you enter leaves energetic residue, not just memories, but actual energetic imprints that affect how you show up in future connections. Old wounds, unconscious agreements, limiting beliefs about what you deserve. These patterns operate beneath your conscious awareness, shaping your romantic experiences. Betrayal acts like energetic dynamite. It blows up these old patterns so completely that you're forced to rebuild your approach to love from the ground up. Think about David, who had a pattern of choosing emotionally unavailable partners. He told himself he liked the challenge, that he could help them open up, but really their emotional unavailability matched his own fear of true closeness. When his last emotionally unavailable partner betrayed him by suddenly becoming deeply close with someone else, the pain forced David to face the truth. He wasn't attracted to unavailable people because he wanted to heal them. He was attracted to them because they felt safe. They would never demand the kind of vulnerability that terrified him. The betrayal shattered this pattern completely. In his healing process, David had to learn to tolerate and express his own emotions before he could attract someone capable of real emotional closeness. The ancestral healing. Sometimes betrayal serves an even deeper purpose. Healing relationship patterns that have been passed down through generations of your family line. If your family has a history of unfaithfulness, emotional withholding, or love that comes with conditions, you might unconsciously recreate these patterns. Even when you consciously want something different, you attract betrayal not because you deserve it, but because your soul is committed to healing these generational wounds. When you experience and heal from betrayal, you break cycles that may have affected multiple generations of your family. Your healing becomes a gift, not just to your future relationship, but to your children, your children's children, and even ancestors whose patterns you're finally resolving. The worthiness initiation. Perhaps most importantly, betrayal forces you to face your deepest beliefs about your worthiness to receive love. The pain is so intense that you can't avoid the fundamental questions. Do I deserve to be treated this way? What am I accepting that I should never accept? How am I participating in my own mistreatment? These questions lead to what can only be called a worthiness initiation. You're forced to decide. Will you continue accepting crumbs because you believe that's all you deserve? Or will you claim your right to the feast of real love? Linda described her awakening this way. When I realized that I had tolerated his lies and disrespect for 2 years, I had to ask myself why. And the answer was horrifying. I didn't think I deserved better. The betrayal forced me to choose between staying in that belief and claiming my worth. Claiming my worth meant I could never accept that treatment again. If you're recognizing how your own betrayals might have been clearing old patterns and preparing you for a higher quality of love, share this video with someone who's going through their own heartbreak. Because understanding the spiritual perspective can transform their pain into power. The magnetic shift. Now we arrive at the most miraculous part of how betrayal serves as a gift from karma. How it fundamentally changes your energetic frequency, in ways that magnetize your true soulmate connection. The frequency of truth. When you've been betrayed and worked through the healing process, you begin operating at what we might call the frequency of truth. You become allergic to deception, manipulation, and superficiality. You develop an almost supernatural ability to sense when someone isn't being authentic. But more importantly, you start broadcasting authenticity yourself. Having been hurt by lies, you become committed to truth in ways you never were before. This commitment to authenticity becomes a powerful attractor for other authentic souls. Your true soulmate is also operating at this frequency of truth. They've done their own work, faced their own shadows, committed to their own authenticity. When two people vibrating at this frequency meet, the recognition is instant and undeniable. The compassion, cultivation, betrayal, when processed consciously, creates deep compassion, first for yourself, then for others. You understand deeply what it feels like to be human, to make mistakes, to hurt and be hurt. This compassion makes you capable of loving someone not despite their imperfections, but because of their humanity. Your soulmate needs this level of compassion from you, just as you need it from them. Soulmate love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone you can love perfectly imperfectly, someone who can see your wounds and love you, not despite them, but through them. The Boundaries Revolution. One of the most powerful gifts of betrayal is the development of healthy boundaries. When you've been violated, you learn to protect your energy, your time, your heart. You stop giving access to people who haven't earned it. You become selective about who gets your vulnerability. These boundaries don't close you off from love. They create the container for deeper love to grow. Your soulmate will respect and appreciate your boundaries because they have their own. Two people with healthy boundaries can create closeness that's both deep and sustainable. The service activation. Here's something beautiful that often happens after betrayal. You develop a desire to spare others from the pain you've experienced. You become someone who can spot red flags, who can offer wisdom about relationships, who can hold space for others' healing. This service orientation attracts your soulmate in unexpected ways. Maybe you meet them while volunteering for a cause you care about. Maybe they're drawn to your wisdom and healing presence. Maybe your commitment to helping others heal from betrayal leads you directly to someone who's done the same work. The gratitude paradox. Final magnetic shift might surprise you. You develop genuine gratitude for your betrayal experiences, not because you enjoyed the pain, but because you recognize how they shaped you into someone capable of extraordinary love. This gratitude isn't resignation or spiritual bypassing. It's a deep appreciation for how your soul used even the most painful experiences to guide you toward your highest good. And this gratitude creates an energetic field that attracts more experiences worthy of gratitude, including the love you've been preparing for all along. When you can honestly say, "I'm grateful for how that betrayal changed me," you're ready to receive your soulmate because you've transformed from someone who experiences love as something that happens to them to someone who recognizes themselves as a conscious co-creator of their romantic reality. The recognition, but how do you know when you've met your true soulmate? How do you tell the difference between another karmic teacher and your authentic soul partner? Understanding this difference is crucial because many people meet their soulmate but don't recognize them, or mistake a karmic connection for their ultimate match. The peace versus the storm karmic relationships often feel intense, dramatic, and all-consuming. There's usually a sense of urgency, of having to prove your love or fight for the connection. These relationships are full of highs and lows, passion and conflict, breakthrough moments followed by devastating setbacks. Soulmate love feels different. It feels like coming home. There's peace in the connection, even when there's passion. You don't have to chase, convince, or perform to earn their love. The love flows naturally, consistently, sustainably. This doesn't mean soulmate relationships are boring or without challenge, but the challenges feel like opportunities for growth together rather than threats to the relationship itself. The mirror versus the match. Karmic relationships often involve partners who mirror your wounds back to you. They trigger your insecurities, activate your fears, and bring your unhealed patterns to the surface. This mirroring serves the purpose of showing you what needs healing, but it can feel exhausting and destabilizing. Soulmate relationships involve partners who complement your healed self. They don't trigger your wounds, they celebrate your wholeness. They don't activate your fears, they support your courage. They don't exploit your weaknesses. They appreciate your strengths while gently encouraging your growth. The timing divine. Perhaps most importantly, soulmate connections happen when both people are ready. You've both done your healing work. You've both learned to love yourselves. You've both developed the emotional intelligence and spiritual awareness necessary for conscious partnership. Karmic relationships often happen when one or both people are still unconscious, still learning, still carrying unhealed wounds that need activation. The timing feels urgent because the soul knows these lessons need to be learned. With your soulmate, the timing feels perfect, not because of external circumstances, but because of internal readiness. You meet when you're both prepared to create something beautiful together. The support system. When you meet your soulmate, your entire support system seems to celebrate the connection. Friends and family who know you well can see the positive changes in you. The relationship enhances your other connections rather than competing with them. Karmic relationships often create tension in your support system. People who love you may express concern, notice negative changes in you, or feel shut out by the intensity of the connection. The future vision with karmic partners. The future often feels uncertain or requires constant negotiation. You're never quite sure where the relationship is headed, or you have different visions that seem impossible to reconcile. With your soulmate, the future unfolds naturally. You have compatible visions, shared values, and complementary goals. Planning together feels exciting rather than stressful, because you're genuinely aligned on what you want to create. If you're currently in a relationship and wondering whether this person might be your soulmate or another karmic teacher, let me know in the comments by writing recognition, because learning to tell the difference between these different types of connections is one of the most important relationship skills you can develop. The sacred timing now. We need to address something that might be causing you anxiety. If betrayal is preparing me for my soulmate, how long do I have to wait? How many more painful lessons do I need to go through before I find my person? These are natural questions, but they come from a misunderstanding about how spiritual timing works in relationships. The readiness factor. Your soulmate doesn't appear when you've suffered enough or waited long enough. They appear when you're ready. And readiness isn't about external qualifications like age, income, or relationship history. It's about internal development, emotional intelligence, spiritual awareness, and the ability to love from wholeness rather than neediness. Some people become ready after one significant betrayal that causes deep healing and growth. Others need multiple experiences because they have more complex patterns to heal or deeper wounds to address. The number of betrayals isn't what matters. What matters is what you do with each experience. The parallel journey. While you're healing from betrayal and developing your capacity for authentic love, your soulmate is on their own parallel journey. They might be healing from their own betrayals, learning their own lessons, developing their own readiness for conscious partnership. This means you can't force the timing by trying to speed up your own healing. Your readiness has to align with their readiness. The universe coordinates these timing synchronicities in ways that your conscious mind can't orchestrate. The preparation period sometimes. There's a preparation period between when you've done your healing work and when your soulmate appears. This isn't because the universe is holding back your good, but because this period of conscious singleness serves important purposes. It allows you to enjoy your own company, to create a life you love independently, to develop interests and friendships that will enrich your eventual partnership. It gives you time to become the person who can truly appreciate and partner with your soulmate when they arrive. The unexpected arrival. Here's something beautiful about soulmate timing. It often happens when you're not looking, when you've let go of attachment to finding love and become genuinely content with your life as it is. This isn't because the universe rewards you for not wanting love. It's because when you're content and complete on your own, you're able to recognize authentic love more clearly. You're not projecting your needs and fantasies onto potential partners. You can see them clearly and choose from wisdom rather than desperation. The trust requirement. Perhaps most importantly, this process requires trust in timing that's beyond your control. This can be challenging for people who've been hurt by betrayal, because betrayal damages your ability to trust not just other people, but life itself. But healing from betrayal ultimately leads to a deeper trust. Not naive trust that nothing bad will ever happen, but mature trust that whatever happens you can handle it, that your soul knows what it's doing, that love will find you when the time is right. The integration. So how do you live with this understanding? How do you integrate the knowledge that your betrayals were gifts from karma, without becoming passive about your love life, or bitter about your past? Honoring the teachers first, you learn to hold paradox. You can acknowledge that someone hurt you deeply, while also recognizing that the experience served your highest good. You can feel angry about how you were treated while also feeling grateful for how it changed you. This doesn't mean you have to forgive prematurely, or maintain relationships with people who betrayed you. It means you can extract the gifts from painful experiences without needing to make the experience itself okay. Conscious dating. When you understand betrayal as preparation for your soulmate, you approach dating differently. You're not desperately seeking the one, or trying to force connections that aren't flowing naturally. Instead, you're practicing conscious connection with each person you meet. You ask yourself, what is this person here to teach me? What am I here to learn? How can this interaction serve both of our highest good? This approach takes the pressure off each connection while making every interaction meaningful. Patience with purpose. You develop what we might call patience with purpose. You're not just waiting for your soulmate. You're actively preparing for them. You're healing your wounds, developing your gifts, creating a life that's so fulfilling that your eventual partner will be an addition to your joy, rather than a solution to your problems. This purposeful preparation makes the waiting period meaningful rather than torturous. Every day you choose healing over bitterness, growth over stagnation, love over fear. You're preparing to be a better partner to your future soulmate. Releasing control. You learn to release control over how and when love appears, while taking full responsibility for how ready you are to receive it. You can't control who you meet or when you meet them, but you can control how conscious, healed, and authentic you become. This balance between surrender and responsibility is the sweet spot where miracles happen. You're actively participating in your own development, while trusting the larger intelligence of life to coordinate the perfect timing. Celebrating your journey finally, you begin to appreciate your entire romantic journey, including the painful parts. You recognize that every relationship, whether it lasted 2 weeks or 20 years, contributed something essential to your development as a conscious partner. You stop seeing your past relationships as mistakes or time wasted, and start seeing them as a beautiful curriculum that prepared you to love and be loved at the deepest levels. If this perspective is shifting how you see your own romantic history, I want you to subscribe to this channel right now, because understanding the spiritual purpose of your relationships is just the beginning of creating conscious, soulmate-level love in your life. The transformation. As we reach the culmination of our journey together, I want to offer you the most important transformation that comes from understanding betrayal as a gift from karma. You stop being a victim of your romantic history and become the conscious creator of your romantic future. From victim to victor, when you see your betrayals as random misfortunes or evidence of your bad luck in love, you remain in a victim consciousness. You feel powerless, suspicious, and afraid that the next relationship will just bring more pain. But when you understand that every betrayal served your soul's evolution, that every painful experience was preparing you for something better, You reclaim your power. You recognize yourself as a soul who's strong enough to transform pain into wisdom, wounds into gifts, betrayals into blessings. From fear to faith betrayal. Trauma often creates a fear-based approach to love. You become hyper-vigilant about red flags, suspicious of anyone who seems too good to be true, protective to the point of being closed off. Understanding the karmic gift of betrayal transforms this fear into faith. Not naive faith that nothing bad will ever happen, but mature faith that whatever happens will ultimately serve your highest good, that your soul is guiding you toward the love you're meant to experience. From settling to receiving. Perhaps most importantly, you stop settling for relationships that are good enough and start believing you deserve extraordinary love. The pain of betrayal becomes a reference point that says, "Never again will I accept less than authentic love." This shift from settling to receiving creates the energetic space for your soulmate to appear. Because when you truly believe you deserve exceptional love, you become magnetic to exceptional love. The ripple effect, your transformation creates ripples that extend far beyond your own love life. As you heal from betrayal and prepare for soulmate love, you become a beacon for others going through similar journeys. Your story of transformation gives hope to people who are currently in the midst of heartbreak. You become someone who can hold space for others' pain, while also helping them see the gifts hidden within it. Your healed heart becomes a source of healing for the collective heart of humanity, the ultimate recognition. And finally, you recognize the profound intelligence that orchestrates every aspect of your romantic journey. The same force that grows flowers from seeds, that turns caterpillars into butterflies, that transforms winter into spring. This force has been guiding your love life all along. Every betrayal, every lesson, every moment of growth has been leading you to your ultimate destination. A love so authentic, so conscious, so aligned with your soul's purpose that you'll understand why nothing else worked out. Your true soulmate is not just someone you love deeply. They're someone you can build a life with that serves something greater than your individual happiness. Together, you create a partnership that contributes to the healing and evolution of consciousness itself. This is why your soul was willing to endure betrayal, to learn difficult lessons, to wait for the right timing. Because the love you're preparing for isn't just personal, it's sacred work. And every moment of pain you've transformed into wisdom, every wound you've healed into wholeness, every betrayal you've alchemized into a gift. All of this has been preparing you not just to receive extraordinary love, but to create it. Your soulmate is coming, not because you've suffered enough, but because you've grown enough. Not because you deserve a reward for your pain, but because you've developed the capacity to recognize and nurture the most beautiful love possible. The betrayals were never the end of your story. They were the beginning of your real love story. And that story is about to begin.